Let's switch gears now to Florida, where tomorrow Donna Adelson is expected back in court for another motions hearing. Adelson, of course, is facing first-degree murder charges, accused of plotting with her son, convicted killer Charlie, to arrange the murder of her former son-in-law, FSU professor Dan Markel. Her trial is set for next month. Last month, Adelson asked the Leon County Circuit Judge Stephen Everett to move her trial out of Tallahassee, citing extensive publicity. No ruling has been made by the court yet on that request. That motions hearing is expected tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Court TV will be there for it all. In the meantime, Court TV's own Julia Janae has more on the case against Donna Adelson.
November 13th, 2023, police detained Donna Adelson, a Miami grandmother, and her dentist husband Harvey on the jetway at the Miami airport as they attempted to board an international flight.
Oh, don't do this, please.
Please.
Oh,
Someone's got to help them get home. This is terrible. You can't do this. This is
Donna was taken into custody and charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder in the 2014 shooting death of her estranged ex-son-in-law, Dan Markel.
Can I call my attorney?
You have a passport ready?
Where am I going?
Florida State law professor Dan Markel and Donna Adelson's daughter, Wendy, were embroiled in a bitter custody battle when he was killed. They lived in Tallahassee and both worked at the law school. But Wendy Adelson wanted to take their young sons and move hundreds of miles away to Miami to be closer to her mother, Donna. Dan Markel would not agree to this.
Mom, I need you to sit down. I am fine. The boys are fine. I need you to sit down. Danny has been shot. And I don't think he's gonna make it.
Since Dan Markel's death, 2 hitmen and 2 co-conspirators, including Wendy Adelson's brother Charlie, have been convicted. Prosecutors say Markel's ex-mother-in-law, Donna, was the mastermind of the murder-for-hire plot.
Ma'am, you were arrested on a warrant from Leon County, Florida. It says attempted solicitation, conspiracy to commit a capital felony, homicide.
Donna's arrest came a week after her son Charlie was convicted and sentenced to life in prison. She and Harvey Adelson had one-way tickets to Vietnam, which does not have an extradition agreement with the U.S. They were heard discussing their plans on a jail call recording.
We've been looking it up over and over. If things change, if there is extradition from Vietnam. Because we've looked at all the places. I mean, I could go to Korea and China, but there's no extradition. But we're looking for places where there's no extradition.
How long have you been incarcerated at the Leon County Detention Facility? Do you recall?
15 and a half months, 470 days.
Donna Adelson has pleaded not guilty to all of the charges. If she's convicted, she could be sentenced to life in prison.
All right, still with us, trial attorney Alexis Rosenberg. I mean, what a case. Charlie's case, when he was on trial and he took the stand in his own defense and he was convicted, was huge. And as all that unfolds, then we saw what happened. She and her husband were leaving. She was then arrested for her role in the murder of Dan Markel. And that happened in Atlanta, and it was, I mean, something else when he was murdered, because he was beloved. People knew him well and had so many great things to say about him. So what are your thoughts as we're walking towards this trial against the matriarch, Donna Adelson?
I mean, if this was a movie, people would probably not believe it. Yes. I mean, this whole, story, case is just unbelievable. So, I mean, we already have her son's been convicted. So, I mean, that is going, doesn't fare very well for her. I mean, and then now, why was she on the phone? Judge Ashley, why was she on the phone that she knew was being recorded at a jail, basically saying, I'm getting ready to skip town and this is why? I mean, which is, obviously that can come in at the trial as well, potentially. So, I mean, I think this is going to be a tough road for her. I really do. I think that the people that have already, not her son, but the other co-defendants are going to come testify that she had knowledge, that she was aware of it, that she was the mastermind. And the question is, we haven't arrested Wendy, but I mean, there's a lot of questions. Did she really have no idea this was going on?
And Wendy, of course, is Charlie's sister, Donna's daughter, who is married to Dan Markel. It was a bit of a nasty custody dispute going on. And I love the point you make about when she's in jail on that phone talking. Who doesn't know that those calls are recorded and they're educated family? And so anyways, I just am astounded by as well. Now, listen to this next piece. Court TV has obtained body cam video from the Leon County Sheriff's Office of Donna Adelson during her transfer from Miami to Leon County. She was driven there in the back of a police transport van wearing the same clothes that she had on when she was arrested, and she's shackled at her hands and her feet. But at some point, they had to take her to the hospital in Florida on her way to Tallahassee when officers stopped and checked on her and found her in a state of distress. This is current. Look. This date on that, that's from previously when she was distressed. I mean, you see this in November of 2023, and as all this is going on and the distress is they're transporting her, and I'm going to ask in my ear because my recollection is this distress is from today. No, it's the previous video. I wanted to make sure that I had it right. Okay, this is new video we've obtained, so I want to be very clear on that, Alexis. I mean, you look at her and she does not look good.
She's just been arrested for murder. So, I mean, I don't think anybody would be in tip-top shape based on that. So this reaction, I mean, she's an older lady. This reaction isn't so surprising to me. I mean, this is so outside her scheme. I don't believe she was a career criminal. So this whole situation would be shocking to her.
It would be shocking, but she was arrested again right before this. In November of 2023, they were arrested at the Miami airport as they were boarding an overseas flight. She had said things to her son during a jail call about her plan. So I agree with you, it would be shocking, it would be horrific, but couldn't she read the tea leaves? Certainly she had probably advised with attorneys, and I just don't know that attorneys might have not have suggested to her, hey, you may face charges, you may be arrested in this case. So while that episode that she had and had to be taken to the hospital, it's the first time I've actually watched it, Alexis, it does look genuine. I also feel like, is there any acting going on? Because there's so many signs pointing to the fact she was going to end up charged with something.
Well, I believe that video was the day when she was arrested from the airport initially based on what she was wearing, but I could be mistaken.
No, you're right. That's true. Let me just confirm for you. That's absolutely correct.
Okay, so, I mean, here's the question. There probably was some conversations, like you just said, with an attorney that said, listen, the son, you know, the trial's not going well. And I'm not sure, and I'm not saying people should run off and, you know, try and escape and go to countries that we don't have extradition. But really, if that was your plan, she probably should have implemented that earlier and not been on the phone during that conversation. She waited, I think, until the actual conviction of the son. And I think at some point in the trial, there should have been a little indication, like you said, this isn't going so well.
Yeah, do you think Charlie is going to testify at all? We know this. He still denies that he was involved or that he did it. He's been convicted. I'm quite certain they're probably pending appeals. And it's his mother, though. From all evidence presented at the trial against Charlie, she's a strong matriarch, and I feel like the children would do what they were asked to do or told to do by the mother. Does that mean he's going to testify and say she had nothing to do with it either? What do you think?
Well, first of all, it's my understanding that she was considered at the time, prior to this, a pillar of her community, and she was well respected. Now, obviously, based on how this went down, there was some toxic stuff in that family going on. I do not think he is going to get up on that stand and testify against his mother. There's no motivation. He's already been convicted, number one. And number two, it's still his mother. And as you said, you made a very good point. There's appeals going on this case. So I don't think that's going to happen.
Do you think that he might be called by the defense, by his own mother, to testify on her behalf to say, hey, she had nothing to do with this? I didn't either, but she didn't. What do you think?
I don't think so. I think it's going to open up the door to cross, and that potentially could be a problem. So I don't necessarily think they're going to call him. I don't think that adding him, even on the defense side, saying that she didn't have anything to do with it. I think the problem is that it opens up the doors to questioning in other areas, that they could kind of corner him and get information they need to get a conviction on her, on timelines and other things.
Yeah, I would think that his attorneys would say, no, this is a terrible idea. You're not going to testify. One other quick question, because you did reference it, and that is Wendy. Do you think, what's your opinion, that she might be facing charges down the road?
I'm kind of surprised that she hasn't already faced charges. I mean, she hasn't been charged, so we can't say she had anything to do with it. And currently, it is that she had no knowledge. For me personally, it just seems a little hard to swallow that she had no knowledge of this going on, and there was no communication between the three of them about this. But then again, the father hasn't been charged either.
Right, that's true. The father hasn't either. And I don't know, he just seems like maybe he wasn't as aware as she allegedly was and is and involved. But we'll see how it all plays out.